I recognized the face of Brandy Healy from our class, who ran away from home back at the beginning of the school year, which is why the flyer is now crumpled and weather-worn. Tom! Daisy's face glows when I get within earshot. I thought you were tutoring today. I shake my head. I've always had a knack for math and science, so I've been tutoring them since my freshman year. Last semester, I tutored 3 days a week to make extra money, but this semester, it's only twice a week. I'm pleased Daisy knows my schedule. I used to. When she looks at me, her eyes are the color of the Pacific Ocean. I've never seen such a clear shade of blue. I literally can't imagine any girl being as perfectly beautiful as Daisy Driscoll. But somehow my eyes are pulled away from her face and down to her slender neck, to the pulsation of her carotid artery, below the angle of her jaw. Most people's hearts beat at about 60 to 100 pulses every minute. I wonder how fast Daisy's heart beats. If I could watch for a minute, I could calculate her heart rate. So you're free then, huh? Daisy says. Uh-huh. I scratch at the back of my neck. Daisy's friends are all staring at me and nudging each other. A nice thing for her to do would be to step away from them so I could talk to her without being humiliated. But she's not budging. Do you, would you let me, walk you home? My request warrants a peal of giggles from the peanut gallery. One girl has her hand clamped over her mouth, like this is the funniest damn thing she's seen all year. Shush. Daisy whips her head around to shoot her frontal look. Then she turns back to me with a serious expression on her face. I'd love to walk home with you, Tom. I'm so happy. I don't even care if these stupid girls won't quit laughing. Let them laugh. I'm walking home with Daisy. But before Daisy can step away from her friends to join me, the girl standing closest to her, in straight brown hair and thick glasses, grabs her arm. That's Allison, Daisy's best friend. I've got Slug, and she's got Allison. Both of us could probably do better. Daisy, she murmurs. That's all she says. Daisy. Which makes me think she said a lot of other things about me in the past. And now that one word is a reminder of whatever awful thing she said about me when I wasn't standing right here. Allison doesn't like me. She's made that really clear. And it isn't that she doesn't know me and doesn't understand me. Allison knows me. We are, in fact, lab partners in biology this year. We have spent plenty of time together, and every minute we spend together, she likes me a little less. Shush, Daisy says, more firmly this time. Allison releases Daisy's arm, but not before shooting me a dirty look to end all dirty looks. If we were animals in the jungle, she'd be scratching my eyes out right now. I can't believe Slug's got a thing for her. But I don't care, because a second later, Daisy waves to her friends, and then she and I are walking away from the school in the direction of her house. And when she smiles at me, I forget all about Allison. Allison who? It's a really great day today. The sun is shining, and after the longest and coldest winter in history, we don't even need our jackets finally. All I can think about is Daisy. She has a dreamy look on her face. She's almost skipping along beside me. I've known Daisy a really long time, and there are times when she reminds me of that same girl in pigtails that I gazed at from across the playground when I was 4 years old. Even though, back then, all I could hope for was friendship. But even when I was 4, I knew I wanted to marry Daisy Driscoll. And someday I will. Let me carry your backpack, I blurt out. She looks at me in surprise. I can carry my own backpack. But isn't that what a guy's supposed to do? Carry stuff for the girl? I don't want to screw this up. Daisy is too important. Yeah, but I want to carry it for you. She considers my offer for a moment. Finally, she hands over her purple backpack. You are such a gentleman, Tom. I'm smiling to myself. I did good. At least, I'm smiling until I get her backpack on Yes, sir. I mumble. That sounds great. Daisy's father winks at me.
You tell my wife when you're free, and she'll prepare a feast. You don't even have to wear a tie, although you'll earn extra points if you do.
Daisy's pale skin has turned an adorably pink shade. As her father disappears into the house, she shakes her head at me. You don't have to come to dinner, really. I'm glad she said that, because I have no intention of ever having dinner with the Driscoll family. Even though I think about Daisy every moment of every day, I don't want to get to know Daisy's parents. I don't want to spend time with them, especially not her father. I'll be happy if Daisy's father and I never have a conversation again for the rest of my life. After all, the less time I spend with the chief of police, the better.
Chapter 5. Present Day. Sydney. As I walk the 3 blocks back to my building, the depression sets in. Yes, I just had one of the worst dates of my life. The guy almost assaulted me,
International Drive.
Oh, to International Drive, exit 1, right?
Right.
Is it going to ask for this when I get off?
I'm thinking so.
We're almost there. We made pretty good time, huh?
I know. It's only 10.
It's going to be in the 90s today. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. calling you.
I can't answer right now. There's Jack's roller coasters. There it is. You have the right of way.